The Wednesday Up Late podcast is made possible with help from Inspire 9. Located directly opposite Richmond train station, Inspire 9 is the best office space and co-working environment in Melbourne. And with cost-effective, flexible terms, it's the right solution for your business. Visit inspire9.com to take a virtual tour and see for yourself.
They love that in the
ear.
Yeah,
They like that.
Mhm.
Yeah. Hello. Welcome to Wednesday Up Late. We have a very special episode for you today. Hold on to your seats. It's going to be a bumpy ride. I am your host, Chloe, and this is my co-host,
Glenn.
And this is Wednesday Up Late. Bow bow.
That was really awkward.
Oh.
It was fine.
I was trying to be dramatic and play it up to like a Law and Order type of thing. I'm no actress.
What would an
but
episode?
I play one on TV.
What would an episode of Wednesday Up Late be if it wasn't awkward?
Well, we've had no technical issues, so...
Oh, Jesus, don't say that. Fucking hell. Is it recording?
Is the light flashing?
Oh, my God. How are we?
Yeah.
It's been a time. Good moment.
Yeah. It's been a minute since we've been in the studio, so it's nice to come back.
It has an interesting trip in, I can tell you. So we both live over an hour away from where we are right now.
Yeah, from the studio, yeah.
So that's how long it takes to get here. From opposite ends too, mind you.
Literally opposite ends.
And in that entire trip in, I had a girl sitting behind me that spoke from go to woe, right? From one end to the other. She spoke the whole time, but she wanted everybody to know her opinions. Nobody asked her. So the start of every sentence was, I believe, blah, 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 like, I think, blah, 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 I reckon, blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking, you hear about attacks on the trains and violence on the train lines. I was about to become that.
Yeah, that's what instigates it. You almost turned into a Karen.
Oh, man. Yeah. So anyway, that's my trip in. How was yours?
Footy fans everywhere.
I counted 33 lemon trees.
Yeah.
On my trip in.
Just so weird to see on a train. So many lemon trees.
Stare at backyards and look, this is not interesting. Let's just move it on. have we introduced the show properly like we are at Inspire 9?
Never.
This is, as you saw at the intro of the show, this is it's a work hub. It's a place that if you're a business or a freelancer and you need a workspace in the city, this is a good one. It's
and
right
it is a good one.
beside the stations.
It's super cute.
Yeah.
Super cute in here. Super professional. It's an awesome space.
Begs the question, why do they have us here?
Well, there's their first mistake, but So I took my husband out on a little date last weekend. Ooh, nice. It was his birthday on Monday, and
happy birthday, Nat.
Happy birthday, honey. Decided to take him out on a little date, and we went to the movies.
This is a real rarity when it comes to this one.
Very real rarity. Say that 5 times fast. We went and saw Deadpool.
There we go. And Wolverine.
And Wolverine,
yes.
Obviously.
Cool.
So.
Well, I have not seen it.
You haven't?
No, I've got no interest in it to begin with. But I'm happy
you would have had to.
Well, no, because the screening for that one was during my time off, my leave. So I handballed that to someone else.
I'm sure you're like, damn.
Yeah. Look, I'm going to enjoy it. I know that when I watch it, right? Because I do like the Deadpool movies, but I'm just not into the Deadpool movies. So I can wait until this hits the streaming platform.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, okay, cool.
You can. I didn't enjoy the plot whatsoever. Okay. I thought the plot, Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman, the plot was
But when it comes to
shit.
Deadpool, it hardly matters, does it?
Well, that's my next point, right? Yeah. So the plot means it's just a background, okay? And it's just a background for Ryan Reynolds to play.
Yes.
And play he does, and it's full of little quips and cameos and background thing, and it was awesome. It was great.
Okay, cool.
I really, really enjoyed it.
What did Nat think?
Nat really liked it as well. He's not a laugher at the movies. He'll sit in a movie and he'll think something's funny, but he will not laugh once. Okay. It's really unsettling. Whereas I was giggling like a little girl throughout the entire thing. Nice. So I really, really enjoyed it. Plot was dog shit.
Were you giggling because your hand was in your popcorn? Was that
No, right? No popcorn. We stuffed ourselves on on sushi before we went in.
That's not movie food. What?
No, but it was delicious.
Okay. Hey, I've got a little gift for you. Just I thought, you told me that you were not in the best of moods coming in today, and in light of recent events, I thought you deserve a little gift. So there you go.
Oh my God!
Just to cover up those greys.
You had to go and remind me, didn't you? You had to go and remind me. This is going in my hair tonight, I hope you know.
I was going to get you an all grey one. I thought,
That's
just go with
so
it.
Mean.
Just go with it.
Oh my God.
But I figured that's the colour of the show.
It is.
There we go. So thoughtful.
Watermelon burst. I'm going to burst something in a minute.
Oh my God.
They've multiplied since we've chatted, by the way. It's really unsettling.
Really? Oh, so you're just getting older by the hair.
Oh yeah.
Well, welcome to the club. That's why we're a hat.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. We've got an interesting show. This episode, we're not playing games or anything like that. We're just going to run through genres and then list what we think are our favourite of the genre. So top 5 comedies, sci-fi, things like that. And then at the end of each one, I'll actually go into like, I think I've gone with Empire Magazine, Rolling Stone magazine,
yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
And see what they declared the best, like the number one, and see how close we get to them.
This was really fucking hard for me.
One of them was hard for me.
It was so hard for me to narrow down, and then one of them was hard for me to choose anything.
Okay.
And I bet you know which one that is. But yeah, this was a really tricky one for me.
The problem too is I found that as I'm choosing them, it was pretty easy for me. I know what comedies I like, for example. But then I'm like, once I've decided on my definitive 5, stop thinking. Because then after the fact, I'll think of ones that are much funnier or, that I like more. But
I had to do that. Yeah. I had to be like, no, this is what you've chosen.
Cut it off, Chloe.
Yeah.
Cut it off. All right, so we start with comedies.
Yeah.
Have you got your list?
I do have my list.
Okay, let's do it. Let's go through it.
Do you want me to go first, or do you want to go first?
We'll go take it in turns, I reckon.
All right.
So I guess
not my trusty little
I don't even think these are in a particular order for me. I think I can pretend they're going from 5 to 1, but they're just kind of just 5 grouped together.
Just how they are. Okay, yeah. So yeah, mine aren't in any particular order. Like this is my favourite.
You're very secretive there. Like
I am. I can't let you see my notes.
Get your eyes off my notes.
So yeah, mine are the same. Mine are not in any particular order.
All
right. So you just want me to rattle them off?
Yeah, let's kick off with comedy.
Okay, comedy. Yep. So, first of all, I've got Dodgeball.
I knew you'd go Dodgeball, which is the reason I didn't choose it.
Oh, really? You could have chosen it if you wanted to.
I would never choose Dodgeball.
Yeah. So obviously Dodgeball, and then I have Anchorman.
Okay, so you just go through all of yours then. We're going to bounce one between the other.
Go for it.
Well, you've got Anchorman next.
Yeah.
Okay, well, my first one I've decided was Planes, Trains and Automobiles.
Yeah, I knew you'd have that on your list.
Well, because it's one of the best,
okay,
right?
Yeah.
Simply, that's the only reason.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay, yep.
It's a movie that I laugh out loud every time. I discover new things in it every time. And it really tugs at the heartstrings every time. Like, you can't get to the end of that movie without, if not crying, welling up, choking up. Yeah. Really feeling for that movie.
Someone was talking about the ending of that movie with John Candy sitting in the car.
Oh, there's a couple of moments, and the beautiful thing about that film is when the emotional anchor drops right at the end, you reflect back on what you've seen,
right,
and then you start welling up at things you saw and didn't pick up on.
Sure.
John Hughes just litters those moments all the way through the film, so that at the end of it is like, sucker punch.
Yeah.
I love it. So that's my number one, and you already went with
Anchorman.
Anchorman. Do you want to elaborate on that?
Yeah, that's like a pretty. This is so weird to say, but it's such a special movie to me because of my mum. Yeah. We have a real bond over that movie. We'll call each other and we'll quote that movie and like hang up, and like that's our conversation. Nice. We'll send each other just like little messages every now and then, just with quotes from the movie. It's just something that we've always kind of watched together and loved together. So it's pretty special to me, and it just makes me fucking laugh every time. There's not just one quote in that movie that makes you remember it. There's a million, and I love that.
Yeah, and it's that emotional connection that you have to it that makes that one important.
Absolutely.
Yeah, quite often that's where favourites and best differentiates. Like you've got some kind of connection to it. So my next one's Airplane, aka Flying High. If you're in Australia and you're old like I am, we know it as Flying High, but the rest of the world it's Airplane. Zucker Brothers, it's the first commercial movie they made because they had done the Kentucky Fried Movie, which is also that was almost in there.
Almost in there.
And then they followed Airplane up with Top Secret, which could have also been in there. Like they pioneered pioneer is probably not the right word. They've perfected the spoof, the movie spoof, because Mel Brooks had already done it, and they took the airport series of movies, the disaster movies that have come out. There's a couple of other movies they riff off as well, and they just turn it on its head and make it fucking hilarious. There's nothing,
and they're just classics, you know what I mean?
There's nothing in there that's not hilarious, and it's one of those movies, particularly if you came up with, were raised with these movies at the time. They're the stuff of play school comedy gold.
Yeah.
Like you're in the yard at school and you're just quoting verbatim and doing it. Love those. Zucker Brothers for the win, comedy-wise.
Nice. Very good. My next one is Step Brothers. So we're going for another Will Ferrell one.
Very contemporary.
Well, these are the movies that I grew up with.
Of course.
You know, so
this is where the age difference comes in.
Right.
You are catching up though, as the hair dye.
I'm shut the fuck up. Like you had those as you were growing up, and then these are the ones that I had growing up. So.
But wait.
Oh well, no. Okay. We can all like different things at different places. And look, Robin Hood Men and Thieves almost made it onto my list. Yeah, that one.
Okay.
Speaking
of Mel Brooks.
That almost made it onto my list, which is before my time. But Step Brothers is just... I don't even know how to describe it. Like the chemistry between Will Ferrell and...
John C. Reilly.
Yeah, John C. Reilly is just magical. And the way they bounce off each other is just wonderful. And I think I particularly love it more because I've seen John C. Reilly do his more dramatic stuff.
And he was a dramatic actor before any of this.
Exactly right. And then seeing him be able to do this all-rounder, I'm just like, you're perfect.
And as much as I love him, I kind of feel like he almost ruined it for himself by doing a lot more comedy afterwards. Like, I feel like if this had been like a flash-in-the-pan moment for him, like comedy, and then back to drama, it would have been all more powerful, like in Resident. But it's great. It's a great film.
You could be right. But yeah, I think just that comedy duo.
I would rank that top 5 Will Ferrell movies.
Yeah, so would I.
Yeah, it's a grower as well. You watch it the first time, it's funny. You watch it the second time, it's very funny. And the third time, it's hilarious.
It just keeps getting funnier.
Yep.
And I think as you get older as well, and you can kind of relate to some of the characters a little bit more also, it's just so ridiculous and wonderful.
100%. So my next one is way before my time. So this is a Peter Sellers movie called The Party.
Okay.
It's from the 60s. I can't remember what year, maybe 65, 66. It's a Blake Edwards movie, the guy that made the Pink Panther movie. And this is the best way to describe it is it's the foundation for Mr. Bean. So Mr. Bean took his shtick from this.
Okay.
And it's set in Hollywood, and Peter Sellers, and this is where it would never get made today because Peter Sellers plays a sort of a Hindu Indian guy. He's an actor trying to break it into the Hollywood system, but he's a klutz. So everything he does just turns to shit. And he gets, in the opening moments, he gets banished from Hollywood forever, right? And the executive at the studio is on the phone to his secretary saying, never, never invite this guy again. And the secretary is, what's his name? And he goes, Harindu, whatever it is. And so she writes his name down, and you realise she's accidentally written his name down on an invitation list to a party.
Oh.
So he gets invited accidentally to the biggest Hollywood party of the year.
Nice.
And the entire movie is him at that party, winning people over with his kindness, but then also destroying the place with every kind of mistake he can make.
That's wonderful.
Yeah,
that sounds
you
really
would love
fun.
it. And when I say it's like it would never get made today because of the cultural appropriation, he is essentially blackface because he's painted to make himself look like an Indian, but it does not misrepresent the culture. Like, it is very much, you love this guy. Like, you're not looking at this guy saying, I hate him because he's an Indian. You're like that makes him all the more endearing.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a movie that does track kind of well and doesn't get thrown under that cancel bus.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, The Party.
The Party.
Yeah, it's a great film.
The Party. All right, I couldn't decide for the next one. I couldn't pick between the two. I think I have a preference, but it's basically 50-50 between Ace Ventura 1 and Ace Ventura 2.
I mean, I've got an answer for that, but I can understand the dilemma.
Yeah, so Ace Ventura 2 was the first one I actually saw before I saw the original Ace Ventura, which is why, it holds a special place in my heart.
Yeah.
And you can never go past, Jim Carrey being birthed out the arse of a rhino. You just can't. And just sitting in the car screaming, "Oh, you, chitty chitty bang bang," to my kids while they scream at me to stop. But yeah, Jim Carrey is one of those people who will forever make me laugh, whether it's Liar Liar, Ace Ventura. It doesn't matter what he does. He makes me laugh. He can always turn it upside down for me if I'm having a shit day. So he, Ace Ventura 1 and Ace Ventura 2 definitely on the list.
Two very different movies as well.
Two extremely different, which is why I couldn't choose between the two. You can see the styles have changed between the first one and the second one, which is really, really hard.
Because the first one's almost a parody of the detective genre.
Right.
The second one is a lampoon of other movies, like, you know, the Carry On type of shtick. So good though. Both of them are so good. I do prefer the first one. I just think it's much more clever. It
is a little bit more clever.
But cancelled. It's been cancelled too.
I don't give a fuck.
No.
I don't give a fuck.
He found Mr. Winky. Cuts a tone like going.
Oh my god. So I couldn't choose between the two.
All right, I'll let you have that. My next one is Annie Hall, which is Woody Allen. It's the movie that really kicked off modern rom-coms. So we had romantic comedies like, as you know, you love Some Like It Hot and things like that. That's sort of a rom-commy kind of thing. But Annie Hall contemporized it, put it into the now, and lots of pop culture references. So it's built upon dialogue. It's him and her having lots of conversations. Lots of just funny moments in the kitchen. It's a very realistic depiction of a romantic sort of entanglement to begin with.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't have Notting Hill and Four Weddings and a Funeral if it wasn't for Annie Hall.
Wow,
yeah,
okay.
So if you love a rom-com, go for it. No matter what you think of Woody Allen, just go with the movie for its own merits. It's fucking...
Yeah. It's one of those ones that, you know, people are going to shame me for, but I haven't seen. And, you know, it makes it on every single list everywhere, you know, as phenomenal. Like a top comedy. So, yeah. And
it's very much, if you've seen When Harry Met Sally, that is pretty much a riff of Annie Hall, like almost the same.
Right, okay.
And what Woody Allen did, because he's in it, he pioneered that breaking the fourth wall and talking to the audience. So he'll be in a movie line talking to Annie Hall and she'll have an opinion he doesn't agree with. And he turns to the camera and he's like, can you believe it? You know, like, it's fantastic. It's good stuff.
Right, there you go.
And I tend to agree with Woody Allen's opinions when it comes to the movies in that film. Like, you know, she doesn't know much about movies and he's like, can you believe it?
Whoa, all right. I might have to have a look at that.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, so my last one is... also has Will Ferrell in it, and I only didn't realise that until now.
Can I have a guess?
Go for it. You won't get it.
Can I guess 3 guesses?
Okay, you can have 3 guesses.
Night at the Roxbury?
No.
Okay. Superstar?
No.
Okay. Night at the Roxbury, Superstar, and... No.
The Producers.
Oh.
But...
Man, there's a real Mel Brooks theme going on here.
Yeah. I obviously have a style. But yeah, Nathan Lane, Matthew Broderick, Will Ferrell in there playing Hitler.
See, this is interesting because a movie that almost made my top 5 was The Original Producers.
Really?
Because I reckon that's one of the great comedies. Once again, it's a generational difference here.
Yeah, it's so good.
Although I reckon we're kind of the same generation, but we're at the opposite ends of like where they meet.
I mean, we're not that far apart, but I mean, you've had a little bit longer to, you know, get acquainted with a lot longer. But yeah, no, The Producers, it's just, you know, it's just one of those movies that sticks with you. So catchy, so wonderful, so pretty. Uma Thurman.
Yeah.
Springtime for Hitler and Germany. And like you sing that around the house and people think you're nuts and it's fun.
I'm almost ashamed I didn't have Mel Brooks in there at all. Young Frankenstein was another one that almost crept in because that's just perfection.
Yeah.
So my final one is A Mighty Wind, which is the Christopher Guest movie, the ensemble improv movie. If you've seen movies like Spinal Tap or Waiting for Guffman, things like that. A Mighty Wind is the one all about folk music, and it's one of those movies I can quote any time of the day. I just love it. The ensemble's probably the best they've ever been. And just, pure hilarity. So I think that's his best film.
I feel like I've seen that, but not
Maybe.
like a really long time
Didn't you recently do a bit of a Christopher Guest dive?
Yes, I did, yeah.
So, speaking of, we go to the Rolling Stones' #1 comedy of all time, Best in Show.
Really?
Which is the dog show one.
Yeah, that he did. I don't disagree with that.
And he's in that with 2 left feet. No, it's Eugene Levy has 2 left feet, which is the funniest thing I've ever seen. You know,
As I get older, I appreciate Eugene Levy more and more and more. And I'm so glad. Like, I'm really, really glad I'm kind of for like I'm discovering him for myself now because I feel like when American Pie and all that kind of stuff, like that's who Eugene Levy was for me.
Yeah.
Now that I'm older, I'm discovering him in like What About Guffman and
and further down the rabbit hole, you go back to Vacation, Club Paradise. These are movies from the 70s, 80s.
Yeah.
You know,
I just feel like I'm in for a ride and I'm
really
going to enjoy it.
He had a big fro. Like there's a whole generation that know him as the fro guy with the eyebrows were as big as the fro. Oh, so good.
Oh, he's so wonderful.
All right, so that wraps up comedies. And we're next moving on to sci-fi. Is this the one you had trouble with? Or
No.
Okay, then I know what it was you had trouble with.
Yep.
Okay. Science fiction movies, as we move forward, the genres are sort of getting broader, like as in what constitutes...
Right, and you can mix and match different types of things. So I just went for me, I just...
went with what's obviously sci-fi.
Yeah.
So it's got a tech or a futuristic kind of component.
Kind of, yeah.
All right, so I'll start this one off. Yep. I went with the obvious, I think, is 2001: A Space Odyssey. Kubrick's film that if it wasn't for that film, we wouldn't have Spielberg making his type of films and a whole generation of other filmmakers. I think that's Francis Ford Coppola, George Lucas. We wouldn't have their movies if it wasn't for 2001.
Wow.
And I saw that film. I've seen it so many times, but I went to an anniversary screening on the big screen. And it's the only time in a film I've ever felt nauseous.
Oh.
Because the screen, if you've ever seen the film, it's so broad in scope and everything moves so slowly.
Yeah, okay.
That when it goes like that, you feel like the whole cinema is shifting with it.
Yeah.
And I had to close my eyes. I'm like, the motion sickness was real.
Yeah, that's like when I vomited in my husband's hat when we were at the planetarium in San Francisco. And I was just newly pregnant. And I know exactly how you felt, but I did vomit into his hat.
That's why I bring this.
Yeah.
Just in case.
Yeah, and to hide his grace. So my first one is pretty obvious.
The desk hides my grace.
I feel like my first one is pretty obvious, and that's The Fifth Element.
Of course.
I do that rewatching once or twice a year.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
100% constitutes a sci-fi. It 100% represents you. It makes perfect sense.
It's perfect. Yeah. It's literally one of the perfect sci-fi films for me.
Did you see the relatively recent Luc Besson movie, Valerium, I think it was called?
No.
That is almost like a companion to Fifth Element.
Really?
So you might like that one.
Maybe.
I wasn't huge on it, but when I was watching it, I'm thinking, Chloe will love this. It's almost like a part 2.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
All right, so my next one is Alien, Ridley Scott's Alien. 1979, and Alien Romulus has just come out at the cinemas, which is pretty good. It's another. This one also crosses into horror, so it could be one of the great horrors of all time. But it's terrifying. I watched it again 3 nights ago with my son because I don't think he'd ever seen it, so we whacked on the 4K. Terrifying. It is as scary now as it was then. It's all practical, atmospheric.
I love practical.
It's like a lead female kicking ass, like, one of the earlier examples of that. So, yeah, just a near perfect film, if not perfect.
Nice. Nice. All right, my next one, again, pretty obvious. Back to the Future.
Yeah, which comedy. Like, which way does that go?
Well, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
But Back to the Future, we've gone through this before, but I do think that number 3 does ease in there to probably my favorite one, which is, I found, controversial.
It's very controversial.
People don't agree a lot about the third one. I love it.
A lot of people treat the third one the way they treat Godfather 3, in that it doesn't belong. Right. I'm in your camp with that one. I remember that was the first one I saw theatrically, and therefore it struck a chord with me. And I just love the story. Makes sense to go there.
Yeah, right? Absolutely. Yeah, and it's fun. Who doesn't love a Western?
And it's really right throughout the whole theme and story of it is H.G. Wells. Jules Verne, the author, sci-fi author that Doc Emmett Brown sort of idolizes, and he's the author of now I'm thinking, was it Jules Verne or H.G. Wells that did The Time Machine? Might be H.G. Wells. Nevertheless, Jules Verne is all about voyage to the bottom of the sea and stuff like that.
Okay, right.
And that is what I love about it, because it's very steampunk in its look and things like that, and that's very Jules Verne. I'm on board with number 3. I think the first one's the best. But
I do still put the first one as the best, but number 3 closely follows that up.
What a lot of people don't know is the first movie was never made to have sequels. Even though it says at the end to be continued, that was just a throwaway joke, because it's time travel, right? But it was never supposed to have sequels. And then they did 2 and 3 back to back, shot them at the same time.
But it's the perfect like movie to have sequels, you know? Like you can go absolutely anywhere with that type of thing. I didn't particularly love the second one. It got a little dark for me.
The second one gets better more and more as you watch it, but it's definitely an odd one.
I didn't love my re-watching of it.
Yeah, I do love it. I love them all. And whenever I watch them, it's all three or bust. I watch them all back to back. I rarely do one at a time. My parents, this is a funny story. It's not funny, it's an interesting story. My parents were on the set of Back to the Future 2 and 3.
Oh,
when they were at Universal Studios back in the late 80s, they did the backlot tour, which stopped for about 15 minutes to watch a film in production. And it was that.
Well, back in the early 90s, like as in 1990, early 1990, my mother was also on that set at Warner Bros. With tiny little baby Chloe in her tummy.
So you've been there too?
So I have.
You were probably on the same tour with my parents.
She likes to talk about it a lot because obviously Michael J. Fox was her love. Growing up, she was obsessed. She's also 6 foot. So that never would have worked out.
Little Alex P. Keaton was not going to be going there. Okay.
No.
Well, I mean, short guys.
Short kings.
Right. We're up to me. So, Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
So good.
Spielberg movie. And there's three versions of this film you can watch. And I think there's the first director's cut, I think, is the best one. If I'm getting my director's cuts right. There's a special edition director's cut and theatrical cut.
Oh, God.
I know. But I think
it's a good movie, just leave it.
It is a great movie. It's so atmospheric. And when people say movies have Spielbergian qualities, that's the movie I think that you can pin the Spielbergian sort of tone with. That and E.T., which I think they both were spawned from the same script.
Oh, yeah. I think you've mentioned that before.
And Poltergeist, I think, came from that as well.
Yeah.
Anyway, there you go. So
interesting.
Yep.
Very interesting. All right, my next one, Donnie Darko.
Of course.
Yeah. Another one, I actually had to watch this in school for, I don't know, some sort of project that we were doing, and I kind of just fell in love with it. Bought the DVD. It was on reruns. Loved it. My mother loved it, so we would watch it together and tell each other to go back to China, bitch, which is very inappropriate now that I look back on it, but it was just something that we used to say to each other.
Chloe loves to push that envelope on this show whenever she can, any opportunity she loves to.
It's me that likes to do that. But also I just love...
Blackface?
Oh. I love the...
Minstrel.
I love... Moving on, what's your next one?
Segregation. Now, what do you love?
Don't drink on my water fountain, Glenn.
What do you love?
I love how deep I love how deep it gets. I love how you can interpret it so many different ways, and I think that was why we studied it in school, just to see each person's different interpretation of it. And I absolutely fucking despise Patrick Swayze in this movie, and it kills me.
Would you say there's an element of comedy in there?
In Donnie Darko?
Yeah.
Somewhat.
Yeah, black comedy, yeah? Okay, all right. My next...
Talk about pushing limits, I'm going to push you over.
My next one's The Abyss. James Cameron movie. I think it's James Cameron's best movie. I've been quite vocal about it on social media lately. And I watched that again with my son, and there's two versions. You've got a theatrical cut, then director's cut. The director's cut's called the special edition. And I said to my son, like, you can watch whichever one you want. I said the special edition's the better one. It's 3 hours as opposed to 2.5.
Right.
And so he put the theatrical on. He thought, I'm going to save myself some time, right? And I watched it with him, and we got to the final act. Nothing made sense at all.
Right.
And I said, he goes, I don't understand what's happening. And I said, you know what? I don't either. Like, I've seen this movie 100 times. I said, flip it over to the other version, and we did, and suddenly everything made sense.
Yeah,
so why would a studio remove the context of the film and deliver something that just absolutely makes no sense? That makes no sense.
Yeah, I mean, they're a business. Not a lot makes sense about business.
Anyway.
Obviously, I had to go with Star Wars, and It's a New Hope.
Yeah.
It's a New Hope or bust for me. That is the best Star Wars movie. No one can contend that.
Everyone will contend that, and they'll say The Empire Strikes Back is the best.
No.
They will.
Well, they can, but, just enjoy being wrong. A New Hope is where it all began and where, it was the best. So,
Yep.
I mean, even from a young age, I loved loved it. And I don't know why. I think I do enjoy sci-fi, but like, I don't know.
Space
it's just
opera.
so good.
Space opera.
Yeah, it's just so good.
It is good. That whole first trilogy is fantastic.
You can't go past a classic.
Speaking of classics, so the last one on my list would be The Day the Earth Stood Still, which is from the 1950s. It's that Cold War era sci-fi stuff that Hollywood did because everyone was afraid of a new war and the nuclear sort of race to arms and all that kind of stuff. And it's just a beautiful film. It moves at a lightning pace. And similar to The Abyss, or The Abyss is similar to this, it has a forewarning to mankind. Like, if you go down the path you're going at each other's throats, nuclear, all that kind of stuff, then the rest of the universe is not going to be on your side and they will obliterate. They're like, we're a peaceful universe, presuming that the universe is peaceful. They're like, what are you doing to yourselves? We can't have this, so we're going to just completely, if you don't sort yourself out, we're going to completely eradicate you. Yeah. It's a great film. Cautionary tale.
Far, far away, it's not so peaceful, so, who says it's peaceful?
That is true. I mean, good point. I take everything back.
Thank you very much.
So, are we up to your last one?
Yeah, my last one is one that I forgot how good it was until I did a rewatch, and that's Total Recall.
Great one.
It's so good. Yes. The alien with the 3 boobs gets me every time.
Okay, can we just stop there for a minute?
What?
So everyone says how great the lady with the 3 boobs is, right? We talk about this on Good Movie Monday a lot.
Yeah.
My old buddy Albert Pune, the director, he's the first to do the 3-titted woman. Like, let's just put it out there. He made a movie called Vicious Lips that had a lady with 3 tits. And he was originally hired to direct Total Recall.
Oh.
And he left the project.
And they stole his idea.
Stole his idea. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And if you watch Vicious Lips, which was made first, you'll still see the lady with the 3 tits.
Wow.
Yeah.
I just need to say, though, like, 2's fine. 2's plenty.
Well,
we don't want any more. Like,
the whole,
that's enough.
Like, how, we only have 2 hands, right? But that's where. But but the other thing, the classic.
You can't do that.
3 makes that all the more like
Oh, like a xylophone.
Yeah, kind of. Hit all the right buttons.
Oh my lord. But yes, Total Recall. It's so good.
It's great.
I don't have much more to say about it other than just like you rewatch it and it's still great.
It's Paul Verhoeven, the director who did RoboCop and Showgirls and things like that. But it's all practical miniatures.
I know. I think that's why I love it so much as well.
Quaid opens up and got the little dude coming out. Yeah. Do you know? Do you watch Breaking Bad?
No.
Never mind.
I've never watched Breaking Bad.
Well,
hit me about that in the comments. Let's go.
For the people playing at home, you may already know the guy that has the clit face in Total Recall. Well, they call him Clit Face.
Okay.
Right? He's Hank from Breaking Bad. He's Hank from Breaking Bad. That's why he's always rubbing his head.
Still can't find that spot. All right, let's go on to the next one.
Until you want the Rolling Stone number 1?
Oh, yes, sorry.
Okay, what do you reckon?
Sci-fi. I think it's going to be like 2001: A Space Odyssey.
It is, yeah. And when you watch it, you probably understand why.
Yeah.
All right, moving on.
Action.
Yep, take it away.
Is next. No, that's what the next genre is. It's action.
Yeah. Take it away.
Oh, I thought you said Nope, cool.
As you were. Action. I got something to give.
All right, so I had Terminator 2. Obviously. And that could have gone into the sci-fi or the action category. I chose to put it in the action category. Because I feel like there's just that little bit more action than sci-fi. Because obviously you've got the Terminators.
I'll pay it.
A lot of guns, a lot of car chases, all that kind of stuff. And that truck chasing the motorbike in the waterways, it's beautiful. It's iconic. It's wonderful. It's heart racing. The Terminator, spoiler alert, the Terminator's dying at the end and he's going down into the lava stuff with his thumb up. Beautiful, like tear-jerking. Arnold Schwarzenegger trying to learn how to smile as the Terminator. Wonderful stuff.
I will pay it. I prefer the original, but I'm in the minority when it comes to that. Right, my first one. This is a very hard category. This is one that you have to stop when you've got your 5 and not think about any other movies because you're going to end up rearranging.
Yeah.
So I just started with Die Hard because it's Die Hard. Like it is one of the greatest action films of all time. It's probably an action movie we reference more than many others.
Yeah.
It's probably the action movie we reference when we talk about action movies.
Yeah, it's one of my go-tos, obviously.
Yeah, you hear quite often, like in reviews or taglines, it's the new Die Hard or it's the new blah, blah, blah. Like, it's great in every single way. Led to a franchise, but you can never beat that.
The original.
Yeah.
I do like the 4th or 5th one.
Because of Justin Long?
Yeah.
Yeah. 99% of Die Hard fans out there will probably disagree with you.
That's okay.
That's all right.
I didn't watch it for the plot. So my next one is, funnily enough, Die Hard. Because, obviously.
Because of everything we just said.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we can go back to another one of yours.
Okay. Temple of Doom.
Oh, good one.
Yeah, this is an interesting one.
Not the Last Crusade?
Well, no, but... Okay, so we're getting into Back to the Future territory there, right?
Hang on.
Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Raiders.
Because when people say they don't think that Back to the Future 3 is the best,
yeah,
they say the same about Last Crusade.
Right.
But now that we've had Kingdom of the Crystal Skull and
the
Dial of Destiny, then the original trilogy, masterpieces. But one thing that's been quite interesting in the last maybe 10 years is that from everyone saying that Raiders was the best, suddenly Temple of Doom is coming up as the favourite.
It's spiking in popularity, is it?
A lot of lists as like one of the as the best Indiana Jones. It's the prequel. It takes place right before Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Is that the one with River Phoenix in it?
No, that's the Last Crusade.
Oh, that's the Last Crusade.
Yeah, this is the one with Kate Capshaw and little Goonies guy.
Go on,
say
Short
it.
Round.
And what's his real name?
Key. I can't remember his last name.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, him.
Key is his first
Short
name.
Round.
Yeah.
Short Round. Data.
Have you heard his story? Have you heard about his childhood and growing up and becoming friends with, Richard Donner and all that kind of stuff?
I may have. You can tell it.
Yeah, you should really go and find, there's a YouTube clip or something about him, and he speaks about his journey from like when he left China and came to the States. It is heartbreaking. It is beautiful. He is the most amazing, kind human being, and he has just a wonderful story. So
cool. So you're not going to tell it. You have to go and find it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I'm not
can't remember it.
No, I can remember it. I'm not. Do the work, people. Do the work.
Well, doing the work would be listening to a podcast like this to find out.
Yeah, and I just said how wonderful and kind he was.
Stepping stones, people. Stepping stones.
My next one.
Anyway, Temple of Doom is fucking great.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Go on. It's fine. As you were.
Bad Boys, but the original.
Okay.
I don't love Marissa Tomei. I don't love her, but I reckon Bad Boys it's Michael Bay, yeah? It's one of my first Michael Bay films that I watched. I had it on DVD and I used to listen on my stepdad's surround sound when we had like the big speakers fucking taking over half the lounge room. And loved it. The action got my heart pumping.
This is the first one of all the movies you've chosen I can't be on board with.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's going to happen.
Will Smith was hot.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was good. I really like it. I still like it to this day.
So many better buddy cop movies. Anyway.
Well, sure, but you're saying I have to pick mine.
I know, but that's okay. But
it is. Thank you.
This is what we do. We disagree.
Yeah.
This could be sci-fi. Escape from New York.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I'm lumping it in with action just because it's fantastic. John Carpenter, Kurt Russell. Yeah. What to say? Once again, so many great practical effects. Even like the digital effects are kind of practical because they're sort of layered on the film and camera going through and all that kind of stuff. And it inspired an entire sort of genre. Like there's been a lot of movies like it since, including your mate Luc Besson, who did The Fifth Element. He got sued for making a movie with Guy Pearce that was actually Escape from New York. He ripped it off completely. Successfully sued, I believe.
Shouldn't have got on board with that.
Anyway, there we go.
My next one is Roadhouse.
Wow. I wasn't expecting
The OG.
Yep.
I loved that movie.
I know you did.
I am frothing to go back and watch it.
You only recently watched it?
Recently, yeah.
That's cool.
It's made it. This is another Swayze film that, I don't know, he's just perfection. He's just great at everything that he does. But yeah, it was, you hear about people going, Roadhouse, and oh my God, Roadhouse is so good, and blah, blah, blah. And I kind of didn't have high expectations for it, and it just knocked my teeth out, just like Patrick Swayze would in
The
Roadhouse.
finale of that film is just the best.
It's so good.
Brutal.
So good.
Yeah.
Shots fired, literally.
Yeah, 100%.
Wonderful.
1 second. Where are we? I've lost all my notes.
Action.
There we are. So the next one, once again, like I guess the original, which I am going with, is action, but from here it kind of goes sci-fi in the franchise, and that would be Mad Max.
Oh, okay.
Original Mad Max, which I watched Furiosa again last night with my wife because that's just had a home entertainment release. Fuck, it's good stuff.
I was going to put Fury Road on mine. Because I watched that because you recommended it, not expecting to like it whatsoever, and it was fucking awesome.
So Fury Road, hang on.
No, what's the newest one that's not in cinemas, but the one before that? Is that Fury Road?
Yeah. So I'm going to jump the gun here and just tell you, like Rolling Stone listed that as the greatest action film of all time.
Really?
Yes, they did. Fury Road. And when I saw Fury Road, I also thought this is the greatest action movie of all time. Yeah. Right? It's just, it's perfectly orchestrated. Like every single action sequence means something.
Yeah.
And we watched Furiosa last night, and because that is the prequel to Fury Road, and it ends at the moment Fury Road starts. Right. So you can watch it all as one movie. It's fantastic. Like I think you'll love that too.
I think I would too. Like I wasn't going to give it a chance, and I'm so fucking glad that I did because it was so good. And I had like bad COVID when I watched that as well, and I just wasn't loving life. Yeah. And it just made me so happy.
I could have just lumped Mad Max as a franchise in as this, but I'm going with the original because the original changed the game. Like it is a movie that was made on a shoestring by a bunch of people that had never made a film before, maybe some short films, all shot on the back roads of Melbourne and near where you live. It's just perfect. I can watch it any day of the week.
A little bit of a spoiler here, but there's some wonderful Mad Max vibes in Deadpool as well. Excellent. That I think you'll like as well.
Excellent there.
And my last one, this is only a recent watch for me as well. Speed.
Awesome.
So good.
Yep. I'm glad you put that in there.
I haven't watched Speed 2 just yet.
That's okay.
Sandy Bullock and Keanu.
Jeff Daniels.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wonderful.
Yeah, it's a great film. That just gets better with age, I think. It hasn't aged badly at all.
No, I don't think so. Not at all.
That jump is pretty sus, though, isn't it? Like the way it just...
Oh, look, I'm moving past that. Okay, I'm jumping it just like the bus jumped that bridge. Very realistic style. Fury Road, best action film. I can see that, and I am not going to disagree.
Okay, can I say my last one?
Yes, absolutely you can.
Fantastic.
I was just making conversation.
First Blood, Rambo, the first Rambo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so the First Blood, like
My dad would agree with
everyone has a misconception that if you've never seen any Rambo films, you have a misconception that it's just archery, explosions, muscle. The first one is none of that.
Yeah, okay.
The first one is a Vietnam vet who is returning to America, and he's in the hometown of his best mate from the war who has asked him to go home after the war and tell the family, blah, blah, blah. But he can't get far into town without the local sheriff trying to kick him out. It's like, you don't belong here, that kind of stuff. And so the cops wrongfully arrest him. He's not even big and muscly in this one. Like, he's quite scrawny in sly terms.
Well, he's been at war.
And so he gets arrested and brutalised in the prison really bad by David Crusoe. He's one of the ones that really does it. With the blood. No, it's a great joke. Anyone that's paying attention. Yeah. Rambo escapes the prison, flees into the hills, and then it's a manhunt.
Oh, and very Ted Bundy.
He puts his, what?
That's what Ted Bundy did.
He did, it's true. Except Rambo puts his army smarts to the test and sets up booby traps for them.
Okay.
It's a fantastic movie. It's really fucking great with the most heart-wrenching finale ever.
Would you consider, staying on the Stallone package for a minute, would you consider Rocky an action film?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's drama. The first one's very much a drama film.
Yeah.
But the franchise quickly becomes an action. It's a fight movie. They're fight movies.
Okay.
But no, you can put them in.
I couldn't lump them. I just couldn't figure out where to lump them. That's all.
I mean, this is what we're up to now, right? We're up to drama, and this is the problem: is that so many movies qualify as drama, whether they're action, comedy, whatever. Like drama is such a broad thing. So I struggled here too.
I struggled really, really hard.
Well, let's bring the show to a close with this one. Do you want to go first? I just realised how fucking long this episode's going to be because we're just prattling on.
All right, let's fly through it. I had as my first one, Remember the Titans.
Jesus.
What?
Okay, cool.
It's so good.
It's pretty good.
It's a wonderful movie. again, it doesn't age badly whatsoever. It's very dramatic. He's in a car accident. It's very sad. He's in the hospital.
That's a good one. It's a good one. It's just one of those formulas.
He couldn't play football,
It's one of those formula movies, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's very dramatic.
Okay. Well, that was produced by Jerry Bruckheimer, who's the action king of Hollywood. I went with Boys in the Hood for my first one, which I think John Singleton made that when he was 26 years old, the director. Ice Cube had come fresh out of NWA. I think the Rodney King incident had just happened, so it was a very topical movie. Racial relations in America were at an all-time high. Some would say they are higher now than they were then. And it's just life in the hood and how gross and dangerous and how much it sucks to be living there.
Yeah.
Fantastic fucking film.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool. I had Thelma and Louise.
Yeah, Ridley Scott. Nice.
Yeah. Thelma and Louise, I remember watching this with my friend in my bedroom. She kind of wasn't as into movies as I was, and this had always been on my list that I wanted to watch.
Yep.
And then my mum backed me up by saying, no, it's a really good movie. So we watched that together. She didn't get it. I, on the other hand, loved it.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
It's a really good one. Great finale.
Hated the finale. Hated it. I did not want that to happen.
They held hands.
I understood why it happened, but I was like, no, in a very dramatic sense.
Well, in the director's cut, a big drawbridge goes ding, and they just keep driving.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I'll watch that one next.
It's actually the Back to the Future bridge. Opens up.
The train's behind him.
And then Thelma and Louise 2 is in the Wild West. It's interesting. It's fantastic.
I'd watch that.
So Godfather is my next one, and that goes without saying. I think if you're a cinephile, you've seen it. You know what I'm talking about. It's just a perfect film, and I would, in I guess, conjunction with that, recommend The Offer, which is the TV show on Paramount Plus, which is all about the making of, which has Miles Teller and who's that actress? Never mind. Keep going. Next one, Godfather.
Cool. I had Good Will Hunting.
Yep.
Again. How do you like them apples?
I was about to say that. I was waiting for you to give a break, and I was going to say, how do you like them apples?
Minnie Driver is wonderful, and, the big break for Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, which rightfully so, because I think they're gone on to have, super amazing success.
Does this movie, big question, does this movie, having seen it, make you appreciate your husband's farts in your sleep a lot more?
No.
Okay.
Never will.
Okay.
Honey, I love you, but I don't love that.
Oh, get a CPAP mask. It's the best. It's like scuba diving under your doona. You can breathe fresh air and trap them.
Thanks.
Okay, so I'm going to flip this around because I think I'm anticipating where you're going. Romper Stomper, I've gone with, which I think is one of Australia's great dramas. It's a really, you would love it, being that it's all about skinheads and, racial, issues and things like that. Great, and you're from the West, and it all takes place in the West.
I'm going to go fucking West Side on you in a minute.
See, just proving my point.
Gotta stomp you.
Amazing film. Gave the world Russell Crowe when Russell Crowe was just absolutely perfect. Like he was probably the best actor we've produced. Well, New Zealand's produced.
We still claim him, though.
Have you seen the original Romper Stomper?
No.
Add it to your list. It's a hard watch, but it's a fucking great watch.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Interesting. I had Billy Elliot as my next one. It's not like any movies that I can sort of relate to. It kind of is like a standalone type of thing, but this poor kid just wants to be fucking noticed, as we all do when we're children, and he's just not who they want him to be, and he's fighting for himself in a time where his dad's trying to fight for himself, to actually work and support his family, and it just, heartbreak every single time. But it's also a really special movie because I used to watch it with my sisters a lot. You have something to say, or no?
Keep going.
I love it, Billy Elliot.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
I also named my dog Billy for Billy Elliot.
Love it.
Yeah,
love it. Is that where you named your surname from too?
Yes.
Excellent.
Yeah, I decided on that from that movie.
All right, how about you just skip straight to your last one,
Okay.
and we'll talk about it together, because I bet it's my last one.
Dead Poets Society?
She's going to kick herself in a minute, people. All right, go on.
Dead Poets Society is another one that my mother introduced me to.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Excellent. Great film. Not the best film, but...
I know you don't like it.
No, I like it, but...
But I love Robin Williams when he's doing comedy. I love him even more when he's being, dramatic as well. I think he does it so well. And he, I miss him.
Okay. Well, I think we've really gotten to know you on this episode.
Have you?
And what you really like and what you really don't like. So I'm just going to jump in and say Stand By Me is, one of the great dramas of all time. She doesn't think so. What else? I'm not even going to ask her what she thinks of it. Otherwise, you would have put it in your top 5.
You should never ask me when I think of it. See, that's the thing. I didn't know how to categorize that movie.
That's clearly a drama.
Is it?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah. I've got the benefit of having owned a video store and worked in video stores, so I know genres and categorize.
See, I don't.
Someone comes in and goes, "Where's Stand By Me?" Over in the drama section.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, then I would put it in there.
But if you were to scroll Netflix, it'd be in the drama section.
Would it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Where else
I don't have
would you
Netflix.
I think I'm the only person in Australia who doesn't have Netflix, but I only watched it just the other day, and fuck, it just gets better.
I'm interested though. Like, where would you and ah about putting that in a category?
I can't even say kids movies because they say fuck so many times in that movie.
And they're looking for a corpse.
Adventure? I don't know.
Okay, that's a pretty good answer.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, we'll leave it at that. I'm glad
You shaming me?
No.
He's shaming me.
I'm not shaming you at all.
I'm gonna go off and cry, and then go West Side on his ass.
All right, don't forget to come with some pink hair in the next episode.
Yeah, you just watch.
Interesting episode.
What was the... Fuck,
Rolling Stone?
Who's trying to pass off now?
I disagree so strongly with Rolling Stone's selection, and it's
like Sophie's Choice or something?
No, it's very, very predictable. Shawshank Redemption.
Oh, yeah, I guess.
Like the way people describe that as like one of the great films of all time, it never really rings true to me. Like, I don't understand how that's classed as one of the greats of all time. It's a good movie.
It's a great movie.
But
I know a lot of people that's their favourite.
It just doesn't hold up against so many fucking other dramas, but
Interesting.
Yep, all right. Well, thanks for watching, everybody.
Yeah, thank you.
What else to say?
Don't forget to jump on our social medias as well. Facebook, YouTube, TikTok. You'll find us everywhere. goodmoviemonday.com, where you can click the little tab and it takes you straight to Uplate. You can see the whole archive and you can see the development of my greys over time and dealing with Glenn. They just get worse and worse and worse. So thank you for joining us, and
it's the reason we have this backdrop, just so she blends in.
See you next week.
You bitch.